Now, welcome to another Questions from Naboo, where you once again have some questions for us, don't you?
Of course I do. Alright, so now that Ahsoka season 1 is over,
Yep.
what are your thoughts on Sabine? I know we came into this a little harsh because Sabine had force powers and all that. What do you think, though, now that we have finished the arc and everything is over and we kind of got some answers to that?
I still don't like it. I think I like the fact that there are people in Star Wars who don't have the Force that can do really amazing things. I mean, maybe in Rebels, Sabine had a little too much going on. We've discussed that before too. She's like a bounty hunter. She's made like this killer weapon. She's a pilot. She's been to the Imperial Academy, and she's like 5 years old. Kidding, she's like 17. But you get my point. She's done a lot before the age of like 18. So it was kind of like, did we really need to tack on more for her to have accomplished in her life already? Not that she isn't much older at this point, but you get what I mean. There's a limit to the amount of things you want to just heap onto one character, I think.
They did the same to Jyn Erso in the book Rebel Rising. She was good at literally everything.
Yeah. But at least that's, in the written form, that's not something a lot of people consider like part of the true canon, even though it's supposed to be. I'm not trying to say wasn't an unnecessary thing in that book. I'm simply saying when you put it in the shows, it feels a little different to most people. It feels more canon when it happens in shows or movies.
I agree that I liked Sabine the way she was. You can see at the beginning how, times have changed her, and just like Ahsoka, she kind of had to find her way back to herself. I think after all of her failures with the Night of a Thousand Tears weighing on her mind and that she wasn't able to help or stop that.
I guess the problem with just kind of saying your family is dead is we never really know how or when. It's just this thing like thrown out there in the final episode of the season. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, it gets mentioned earlier that something has happened to her family, but it's not until the last episode that it's like, yeah, by the way, her parents died in a Night of a Thousand Tears, which was at the end of the war. That's part of the reason why she's been so upset. Like that's
Part of the
something
reason she was so desperate to find Ezra is to find family, seeing as she's lost even more.
Yeah, but I mean, she still has Hera. She still has, Ahsoka and her are still, I would imagine, like friends, right? She still got Zeb. She's still got people in her life that, are like family to her. I'm not saying it's not devastating to lose your actual family, but I don't know. It was this, like, strange thing that was supposed to be haunting her all season, and we don't really learn about it till the end when it really should have made it clear at the beginning.
Should have made it more clear, yes.
Yeah.
That would have helped her character understanding why she's so sullen, why she's so fixated on Ezra. She failed her family, and this is the only task she has left that she can complete to save family.
I mean, if you look at the Rebels epilogue, Sabine seems to have this resolve about her. It seems to be a matter of, I'm doing this because I feel I need to do it for Ezra. And I'm not saying she's not doing it all because she wants to get her quote-unquote brother back. But it feels like she has this responsibility that she wants to do this. Not that it's so personal in a way.
That's because I still believe that the Rebels epilogue takes place at a different time.
No, I don't at all. I think that's just Dave changing. No.
Because it makes more sense if it does. Because she went off with Ahsoka, and then she wasn't there to help Mandalore. She kind of blames Ahsoka for it. They have a falling out. She doesn't want to train anymore. She gets depressed. She goes back to Lothal.
I mean, like I said, that makes more sense, but I think with the whole Ahsoka the White thing, I think he's just totally retconned that scene and when that all happens. And we don't even know that the change of outfit is supposed to be symbolic, right?
Not really, no, we don't know that.
We've always kind of assumed it like means something profound, and I think it does kind of in the show. But we didn't really know that for sure going into it. She's just wearing white, right? It doesn't have to mean anything. But I think now that we've seen she dons the white attire after the whole Anakin thing, I think it does mean something to that respect. Not that she's consciously even aware that she's doing it. I don't know where I'm going with all this, but I don't think like she would have like been Ahsoka the White in that Rebels epilogue and then gone back to the gray and then, went back to the white again. That's what I think the biggest problem is with all that.
Unless he was retconning that maybe she was not supposed to be Ahsoka the White in the Rebels epilogue.
Well, then he needs to say something.
He does.
That's the biggest problem. Just like tell us, dude. Like you changed it or you had a better idea. Okay, like that's annoying. Sure, but at least tell us. Don't like make everything up to interpretation. I think Dave's biggest flaw is like everything is interpreted. I don't want to like come out and tell you anything.
But we need to be told sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
If everyone's questioning it, we need to know the answer.
Yeah, if your story doesn't make it clear and we're just sitting here arguing over something that shouldn't be argued over, just tell us.
Yeah.
It's one thing when it's fun speculation and trying to interpret things, but it's another when you have like these conflicting things that people are just like, no, it's the same event. No, it's two totally different events. Just like tell us, dude. It's not serving any purpose to not tell us.
No, it is not. Another thing something was pointed out to me that made me a little more open to Sabine's Force stuff. It was in our Discord. Somebody posted a panel from a comic book
Okay.
Yes.
Dave loves his comic books.
He does.
He doesn't know they exist, but he loves them.
Yeah, put it up on the...
No, I'm just kidding, I think.
So I've got that up on the screen. Luke is telling one of his students, Ben isn't stronger, Vo. That's not how it works. The Force can be a trickle, a stream, a river, a flood, for anyone who can sense it. Think of yourself as a door. The wider you open, the more easily the Force flows through you. Some people just start out with their door a bit more open, but any door can open wide. So does that mean pretty much that Dave is using this as his example? Like, if you can feel the Force, and you have a master, such as Ahsoka or something, training you, nurturing you through a bond, perhaps, that it can open you up to a wider experience with the Force?
I guess my question would be how? Like, what does Ahsoka do to open Sabine to the Force?
Well, she literally tries to hunt her down through the Force.
Do you mean, like... Well, my question is, like, is Ahsoka, like, literally doing something that is making it easier for Sabine to access the Force? Or is it just that she's... Okay.
The bond between the... I mean, even Hu Yang at one time, is your bond strong enough?
Yeah, I don't know.
It could be Ahsoka accepting what Sabine did. It could be a lot of things. Ahsoka coming to terms with herself and her failures as a master could have helped her open up herself more to Sabine, so that when she's hunting for Sabine through the Force, Sabine feels her and kind of opens herself up a little bit too. It's like, Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Like, maybe they're really finally experiencing their bond for the first time, which could lead to now... Ahsoka, obviously, throughout that chase sequence stuff at the end, had faith in Sabine. And that could have helped Sabine's confidence, helped her grasp the Force a little bit better. Because even when they were, like, riding up to the door is closing, Ezra, I need help. Sabine, help too.
Well, she's going to say that just to say that, right? You're not going to be like,
Ezra,
Ezra, help. Sabine can't do anything.
But she didn't have to call out for Sabine at all. She could just let Sabine drive the Howler.
Well, sure, but you're trying to instill confidence in Sabine too, right?
And that could have been part of the things that helped, tip her over the edge. I can access my... Look at that. My master is having faith in me. Maybe I should have faith in myself.
I mean, I would go back to the Phantom Menace with the midichlorian count and say that there is... It's implied by Lucas that there is something that makes you Force sensitive. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you have to like the midichlorians. I'm not saying that. But I think the implication is that there is something tangible, something real, something physically inside of a person that makes them much more able to connect with the Force. That is not a matter of, like, I believe hard enough. So I think that's my biggest issue is, like, nowhere in quote-unquote Lucas Star Wars is it implied that anybody can use the Force.
But we're not in Lucas Star Wars anymore, which is kind of sad. We have moved on into an era where we're trying to forget midichlorians exist because they know the fan base never really embraced midichlorians.
They went with M count and stuff, and now in Mandalorian. I wouldn't say they completely threw them out the window.
But we can definitely say that Sabine is at least on the M count spectrum.
I guess so. Because
even Hu Yang said that she had aptitude. Yes, not much, but she did have aptitude.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that everybody isn't a part of the Force. I'm not saying that that's clearly established by Lucas. He's even literally said those words himself. But I think there is something, again, that makes you Force sensitive, that makes you able to do the things that a Jedi can do. Otherwise, why not just, like, look for the most devoted person? Why do the Jedi not just,
because you still have to have that spark. You still have to have that seem to be, sense. Though. I think maybe, and I know I've been jumping around, maybe she did have it the whole time. Maybe that's how come they were able to train her to use the Darksaber so easily.
Well, then how is Sabine suddenly able to, like, do Force pull and push Ezra onto the Star Destroyer?
I think they're trying to make us believe it's because of the bond between a master and their apprentice.
That's weird.
I know.
I mean, it's like you're leeching
Dave
off your master.
Us, we don't.
Dave's never going to tell us. I mean, I know we were talking about that moments ago, but I don't think Dave is actually going to come out and comment on any of this. And if he does, he's going to be very cryptic. He's always very cryptic about this stuff.
I just feel angry because there's, like, this slew of interviews out there that we need to have that I don't know if we're ever going to get.
I don't think so. Like I said, even if you sit Dave down and ask them these questions, he's going to give you not the answers you're looking for.
Oh, what do you think?
Yeah, he does that a lot. I mean, watch a lot of his interviews. He's very, very reserved when he wants to talk about anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because he himself doesn't have this all figured out, or because, he wants everything to be a mystery for reasons.
At the same time, though, it is conflicting with Mandalorian. Because of the fact that Ahsoka said, and I believe Luke kind of maybe mentioned it too, that if Grogu did not continue to train in the Force, his powers would just wane.
Yeah.
But Sabine hasn't been training in the Force for a long time. Does it just mean that they diminish down to next to nothing level, or are they gone completely?
Can you get them back too? Like, if Grogu doesn't train for like 100 years and he is completely, like, detached from it, or whatever you want to call it. Can he like start training again and get it all back?
Do some force push-ups?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, is it like... I mean, that's how the human
Luke
body
detached,
works.
and he came right back into full-on force god.
Yeah. I mean, the human body, like, if you don't keep up with... if you put on a lot of muscle or you become very athletic, you have to keep up with it. Otherwise, it atrophies. It goes away. So is it the same kind of thing where it takes time to build up back to it? And if you've done it before, it tends to be easier to get back there, which is, again, how, athletes are. Once you've been to the mountaintop, it's kind of easier to climb again.
Okay, so to sum this one up, we are kind of on a little different fence post. I've kind of decided to let things go and lean more into, I guess Sabine can be force sensitive, because I'm going to go with the master-apprentice bond. Kind of helps, as the comic says, open the door a little wider to help her embrace the force that she must have had, a tiny spark.
Well,
But did she need it is the other question. I mean, I don't think so.
Kanan in Rebels does say when they're training her with a darksaber, because Hera's like, getting an update at one point, and Hera's like, is it because she doesn't have the Force? Is that why you're not training her the same way you trained Ezra? And Kanan's like, nah, it's because she's like blocked. She's not opening herself to it. You could look at that and say, well, there's the proof that years ago Dave already had the idea that she might be able to open herself to the Force.
But she just blocked herself off.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is that. It's just, again, I just feel like the character is better if she's not force sensitive, because it's cool to see characters in the Star Wars galaxy who aren't force sensitive doing important things, right?
Yeah. Just like Han was great, and then they implied that he has a small amount of force sensitivity.
Yeah.
That's where his quote-unquote luck comes from. So, yeah, sometimes bringing the force in can ruin a character.
Well, that's why I like it being like rare, because then it's just like when you see it, it's something unique and special instead of something like everybody has it to a degree. And again, you could argue they do, that Lucas even implies it, but it makes the Jedi special, right? Because there are few of them. It makes the Sith more terrifying, because not just any bad guy can start using the Force. Like, I've seen a lot of people asking, like, why isn't Thrawn training to use the Force? Because it's just a matter of opening yourself to it. Like, certainly Thrawn has the intellect to do it, or maybe he doesn't because he's too analytical or something. Like, sure, we could have a fun debate about that. But my point is, when the Force is special, Jedi and Sith feel special, and it can make the other characters feel special as well, because they're not tapping into the mysterious energy field that lets you do cool things. And they're just good people,
just
or
doing
strong.
The right thing and
exactly. So I think it's a win-win, honestly.
I can agree with that.
But no, I see your points too. We usually do. I know people think we argue all the time. They don't understand, like, we actually enjoy this, and this is just what we do. We don't hate each other off screen. We actually have a very, very amazing relationship that I'm thankful for. So don't ever worry that, like, me and Naboo are like ready to kill each other. No, that's
no.
We enjoy this. This is what we do for fun. Well, we do other things too.
Jeez.
Winky face. But anyway, that's all I got for you this time. Now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you think about any and all of this. And let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.